It's easy when you believe in something,
Right.
and you have a passion. Just be yourself.
Absolutely.
So thanks for having me here.
This was really cool. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. You know, we've worked together for a lot of years in a lot of different capacities in several different organizations. And, you know, one of the things that I've always admired about you and your leadership is your absolute commitment to the cooperative principles and what that means to lead and to serve. And, you know, I've seen that in your organizations many times. What is it about that cooperative principle list that makes that so important to you?
Oh gosh, well, one of the things that comes to mind, Doug, is cooperatives working with cooperatives, and actually, my career first 25 years was investor-owned companies, and I really truly didn't feel what a cooperative was. Understood it, read about it, until I went to work in North Dakota in 2005. And, that service to the community, making a difference, and it's just grown on me. I mean, when you wake up in the morning, you have that passion. I left Dickie Rule for about 2 weeks and went back into a private, different sector, different industry. And I knew right away it wasn't the right thing to do. And I was talking to HR back at Dickie Rule and said, man, I'd love to come back. Well, guess what? They hadn't filled the job, and I ended up going back. So, and that's just grown with me over the years. I look at the cooperative I'm at now, and you talk about a cooperative that is all in for the community, and we're really living it all in for the community, in working with other cooperatives, and we've had some really successful partnerships, but it's about working together. And what led me to NISC when I got to South Carolina was we had a different software provider, and I'd worked with you in a previous position, in a previous location, but we looked at different software vendors, and at the end of the day, what it come down to was doing business with a cooperative. And why? Because we knew you're not going to change hands. We knew what your true purpose was, serving members, and they knew that at the end of the day.
That is such a key piece that, from my perspective, I see that. I see examples of that across our membership. But I've seen a couple of unique opportunities that you've had in your corner of the world in South Carolina. Tell me about an initiative that you have between yourself and some of your neighboring electric distribution co-ops to create some statewide advocacy.
Well, this started, actually, I'm going to back up to about 5 years ago, pre-COVID. I was at a legislative event, and it was in our region. It was a congressman that represented the upstate part of South Carolina, and there I met a new CEO at Electric Cooperative. And they were north of us. Our footprints didn't overlap or anything like that. And I knew electric co-ops were getting into the broadband business. And in visiting with him, I said, Jim, if you're ever looking at getting into the broadband business, talk to us. I'll point you in the right direction. We'll partner with you if you like. We'll answer questions. You can come down, see our operation. We're here to help, whatever that help may look like. Well, fast forward a couple of years later, we became partners. They came to us, we partnered with them. And through that partnership, we really grew together. Our boards grew together. Personally, we grew together very tight. Our values, our guiding principles all line up.
When you share a set of values, it's really easy to work together.
We talk about this. When we sit across the table like you and I are right now, it's like looking in a mirror. When we talk about our employees, we talk about our communities, We talk about our boards. It's like looking in the mirror, and it's special because it's a partnership of true equals. Well, through that partnership, in the state of South Carolina, there's other electric cooperatives that were getting into the broadband business. And there was telephone cooperatives. We had another telephone cooperative in the state that we basically, Blue Ridge in West Carolina, we gave them our operating agreements, showed them how we formed, and they pretty much patterned themselves off that. And then in discussions and in electrics getting into the broadband business in some places can be a little bit controversial, and but we try to find a way to bring us together. And so through a series of meetings, we started hosting meetings at different locations throughout the state, bringing electric and telephone cooperatives together and just discuss different things. And this is the time that broadband funding is coming out. And through that, we continue to work, and finally we're able to form our own broadband cooperative association, or cooperative broadband association, made up of electric and telephone cooperatives.
That's so cool.
And it's very nice because, you know, when we have a unified voice, this on primarily policy issues, but we've also formed a mutual aid agreement which is real big in the electric co-op world, very formalized, and so we've formed that. We're also working at connecting our networks, and we've connected up with Carolina Connect, which is a member of NISC on the utility side, and we have interconnection with the network. There's 3 companies there made up of Carolina Connect. So it's just a good partnership to be able to share information.
At the end of the day, when your goal was to serve those members, it creates a lot of interesting opportunities. So how do your employees react to or embrace that sharing?
You know, it's interesting. We are busier than we've ever been before. It's crazy, off the charts busy. But they look at this as opportunity. This is our future. You know, the amount of employees that we've been able to hire, the amount of, we call them partners. Our Electricom's a big construction company, and we have different engineering firms, and we don't look at them as contractors, but we look at them as partners. So, you know, on late this summer, we had over 600 people working on broadband projects, fiber projects. And the amount of employees that we've hired and staffed up has been tremendous. But it's this investment in serving is also an investment in our future.
You know, the thing I think is so cool about that is you know, you're in the technology business the same way that NISC is. And one of our biggest challenges is attracting enough help. Technical talent has a lot of options on where they want to go share their talents. When you can provide them an opportunity to be a part of something bigger, I think it really makes organizations like yours and like ours a really attractive option for those folks. Tell me about how your employees embrace the community and their sense of pride in your community.
Oh gosh, well, one, I was talking with you earlier, and when I got to West Carolina, it was after about a month there of hearing this over and over and over. When I'm in grocery stores or out eating in a restaurant, people find out who I am and who I'm with, and I always would talk about the cooperative being such a good cooperative, great service, and then they kept talking about the employees. So we come up with the idea, let's put our employees' images on the side of our vans. Let's use our employees in our advertising. And we do that. We use our employees' children on our advertising. I've gotten thank you cards from little kids of employees saying, you made my day, because they were the cover of a magazine or on a billboard. But we utilize those employees because we are connected to the community, and employees love it. It's absolutely great. Then we started putting our employees' pictures on their business cards. So we just try to take it a whole nother level. But we like utilizing our employees, and they like it.
The one interesting thing for me, I have a lot of friends that work in the tech realm, but not necessarily in our cooperative world. And the one thing that strikes me all the time as I talk to those folks is the piece that they never get to enjoy in their career is they never really get to see and understand and appreciate and get to know the people they're serving. They're creating a product that is a product that's just kind of out there. And the products that we created, the product you're delivering in your communities, it's essential, but your folks get to know the people they're serving. And in my opinion, that makes such a difference in a career and in a very rewarding opportunity.
When you wake up in the morning and you have that fire in your belly and you love doing what you're doing and you work with a group of people that are like that, they're all committed, they're all supporting each other. It's, their success, our employee success is our success. And I look at it and what's really become probably one of the things that really gives me great satisfaction today more than any time my career has been seeing our employees be successful. And that is just so good. And we're homegrown, these employees, and they're coming up through the ranks. You know that. I mean, you've come up through the ranks, start at the ground floor, come up, and here you are, CEO. It's that type of thing to see these employees, and they can set their sights if they have the initiative, the aptitude, and the desire. We're going to help them. We, through tuition reimbursement, and we work with them, and so there's been a lot of opportunity and a lot of good positive movement, and that's why it's become it's. I think it's always been the place to work at, but it's really been elevated, and now we have hundreds of applications for a customer service rep position. People leaving government jobs to come in to work, and
it's fun to see, isn't it? And what you are building through that process is a long-term sustainable culture with an attitude toward service. And the fun thing for me when we think about that is that carries on long after you and I are retired. You're building something that will serve your communities for generations.
It's interesting, this service that we talk about. At our strategic planning meeting this last year, we go through a lot of strategy and planning and looking at different things, and we're in a growth business, and we're really growing, and we're hitting on that. And technology, we're delivering a lot of new products and services, and we're grandfathering, moving things out. But what made me very proud of my board is their focus is focusing on the communities we serve and on the employees. Those are the two key things. So it's great when you go back and you cover the highlights of your strategic planning with your employees, and you're the focus. Our customers and our communities are our focus. And to take it a little bit further, how bought in the board is, a long time ago we introduced what's called a fair share. An hour of time per month you donate to a United Way or a different cause. This year the board said we will match dollar for dollar, it's a 75% match. Anyway, up to $50,000. And we've had over half our employees participating, and they've raised, I think we've written a $55,000 check here this last month, and another big check. We've created at our cooperative, we created a foundation about 10 years ago, and it's a community foundation with our service footprint, and we're very active in that. But with our partnership with Blue Ridge Electric, we also created a foundation there, and this foundation is Blue Ridge. You talk about being a good partner. They had their own foundation, but when we became partners, they kind of changed the focus, renamed it the Country Fiber Foundation, brought us into that fold, and giving to all different type of nonprofits and charities.
That's pretty cool. And, as a partner, that shows a lot of trust. And when we think about trust, we always talk about trust is earned, which it is, but the other half of trust is that it's granted.
Yeah.
And to be in that sort of a partnership with another organization, specifically another cooperative, where you trust each other enough to do things like merge that foundation, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is mutual trust, and it's with our staff. If we sit our staff in a room and they're working on a project, you walk in, you watch how they're interacting. It's not this co-op and this co-op. We're like this, and it's awesome to watch in action.
That's really cool. Well, Jeff, thank you for sharing that story. Thank you for the leadership you provide to your organization, but to the industry. You've been a model everywhere you've been for strong leadership. Thanks for sharing that with us, and thanks for your partnership with NISC.
Thank you. Appreciate being here. Thank you.